I live in Italy, and learning languages is not my main goal. I try to keep my English alive that I used to speak as a child, and I use it on a daily basis. I still speak Greek, and I'm a beginner at Turkish. I used to speak French very fluently because I lived in France. Not only because of that, but that helped. And I used to help people with English and Italian, and sometimes, even if it's not my Greek is not one of my native languages, I used to help people with modern Greek up to a certain point because I know my limits. And the level is so low. Okay. Now it's better. And I try to help a Greek woman with English. And she's been at it, so to speak, for 30 years. She could understand the language. She had a working knowledge of English. But the impression that I had is that her English was quite stilted, so to speak. And I tried to speak with her and to get to the gist of it. And I discovered one thing. She harped on the fact that she was learning, in a way, or keeping English alive for practical purposes. And I tell you that we can force ourselves to get out with a girl for some reason, or a woman, or a boy, but we cannot force ourselves to love or get intimate with a person just because we think it's the thing to do. Sorry, I always have this saying in my mind. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. It's a problem, which means that you can give someone an opportunity, but not to force to take it. Sorry. So my understanding is that only with love, passion, interest, curiosity, you can overcome the level of, okay, I understand more or less when people speak. I can express myself in a very sort of rude way, but this language is not clearly my language. First of all, words have an impact on the way we think, and we should not use the word foreign language. We should use the word new language, whatever, a language that I am learning. It's not like I am splitting her in four. It's like living live on the language. If you don't, if you're not exposed if you're not exposed every day to the language, every day, can be twice a day, can be sometimes once. For some reason you can skip days, but anyway, the idea is on a daily basis. You should not be daunted, intimidated by the language you're learning, because otherwise your brain closes down. So the first idea is I forge ahead, bold and self-assured when I learn a foreign language, or when I improve on what I already know. Because the first thing that we should know is that we never cease learning. Never. Even your own language. Yes, tonight I was and I made a mistake. And yes. I found this word bubolio that I never heard in Italian in 57 years, and it comes from bubolo, which is a jingle. I never heard this in Italian. That means that it's not a given thing that you already know 100% of one language. No, we never master a language. Obviously, we have quite good knowledge over our native language, but there are differences even among speakers of the same native speakers of the same language, and that is a mental attitude that I already always had. And that means when I run into a new word, when I was in middle school and high school, and I used to go over texts that we have to study, I bump into new words, and I always underline the words and look up the words in a dictionary, and I took notes beside. So the day after, when they read the text, I was, for the most part, the only one who knows certain words. But I didn't feel that like a chore or something annoying or things like that. See, pardon if I speak very slowly. I've been down with a very serious flu, and I'm still a kind of out of sorts. But since I have been confined home for many days, had time to watch a lot of videos about language learning, and there is a lot of mumbo jumbo when it comes to this. I'm a follower of Krasner theories of understandable input and other things. I think that you should get to know the language you're learning. And when I say get to know it, the story of the language, the origin. Is it an Indo-European language? Is it a language belonging to the Turkish family, to the Semitic family, or some other family? Other things is that if you're curious about language, about its history, about all the influences by other languages, because every language is set in a certain context, and that accounts for the way the language it is. So we can understand that Romanian is an enclave among Slavic-speaking languages. That's why there are a lot of Slavic words in Romanian. Italian has been influenced by Germanic languages because we've been invaded by barbarians. So we have a lot of guerra, bianco, guardare, stamberga, gruce, and other words that don't stem from Latin. Would I say that Italian is a Germanic language? Not at all. Would I say that in modern Italian has many words, even basic words or important words that are not from Latin? Yes. If you take English, you will find the highest amount of layers in the language. There's an Anglo-Saxon origin, there is the Viking or Norse influence, and then you have the French influence, the Latin influence, influenced by other languages. They came into contact both in India, in North America. So I'd say that English is a very rich language, despite the fact that some people think the opposite. And phonetically wise is quite complicated. And the amount of vocalic sounds, even less, in a lesser degree, consonantic sounds, is not. If you want to speak with the real sounds, you want to make it simpler, like many people do. You make it simpler. You degrade it to a tool to get understood. But the whole point of this speech is that if you face language acquisition in a positive way, also in an aggressive way, here I am, I want to learn the language. I'm ready to do whatever it takes to learn the language, and that will not daunt me. Obviously, sorry, Rome was not built in a day, so take your time. It takes 4 or 5 years to attain a certain high level, and on average, because obviously Chinese, Japanese, Arabic, Russian can be more difficult, so you will take the extra 1 or 2 years as opposed to other languages. Learn a language not out of I know, not because it's a fad, not because it's something many people do. Learn a language because you want to. And I'll come to the point. Learn a language if you really want to learn a language. Don't force yourself to do something that you don't like. Okay? Some people say, yeah, you start and then I don't believe that so much. If you don't start really with a lot of built up sorry, sometimes I'm looking for words. If you're not take your run up, I don't know how to put it, it's not easy. It's like I am getting out with this girl. I'm not going to build a relationship with this girl if I don't like her in the first place. What? So I'd say English is useful, and you can attain a certain level, and then you stop. It's normal, because you don't have the extra will that will take you to a higher level. So every day for me is a day where I will speak Italian, I will speak English. Okay, I will use English because I live in Italy and people don't speak English in Italy. Obviously I can have friends online and that's material for another video. Language exchange, very difficult to find people and to have a meaningful, fruitful language exchange. Okay, goodbye.